It is 7 o'clock and welcome to Mornings with Ridge and Frost.
With Sophie and Wilf, a very good morning from me as well. Lots to get to.
Out on bail, Peter Mandelson is released from police custody in the early hours of this morning.
Ukraine marks 4 years since Russia launched its full-scale invasion. We hear from those who've endured some of the worst attacks.
Moscow has only managed to claim around 20% of Ukraine's territory, but our team has been to the nearest Russian city to Ukraine to hear from those close to the conflict.
Also today, an extraordinary story of a baby boy born using a womb transplanted from a dead donor.
We'll be talking to the family about their experience and the doctors who helped them.
A very good morning to you and welcome to the programme. Peter Mandelson has been released on bail overnight after spending around 8 hours in police custody, facing questions over his links to paedophile financier Jeffrey Epstein. He was arrested yesterday evening on suspicion of misconduct in a public office after allegations emerged in the Epstein files that Mandelson had passed market-sensitive information to Epstein while he was a government minister.
Look, it's a remarkable development. A year ago this week, the Prime Minister was in Washington, D.C. at a welcome party for Peter Mandelson as Britain's new ambassador to the United States. And now his arrest only draws further questions about his appointment.
Our cameras captured the moment Mandelson was released on bail in the early hours. He was arrested at his home on Monday afternoon, following searches of his two homes in recent days and weeks. Those, as we said, came about 8 hours there after he was arrested in the late afternoon, early evening. Amelia joins us now from North London. Amelia, this is going to be, I guess, we might see a glimpse of him later today because he's returned home.
Yeah, he has returned home. All is quiet here this morning and we have not seen him as of yet, but there is, of course, still time. It's the early hours. But as you say, he has been released on bail pending further inquiries after being arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. And he was seen leaving Wandsworth Police Station in that exclusive footage for Sky News, leaving at about 1:15 in the morning before arriving back here at his London home in Camden at around 2 o'clock in the morning. And this follows his arrest yesterday afternoon, where plainclothes police officers came to pick him up at about 4:15 in the afternoon. They spent about half an hour within the property and they all left at about 4:45 p.m. He was seen being taken away and put into an unmarked car. And this comes after the Metropolitan Police launched a criminal investigation into potential misconduct in public office before searching homes, two homes, this one in London and one in Wiltshire, belonging to Peter Mandelson. We have a statement from the Metropolitan Police that we can bring you. They have said in the early hours of this morning, a 72-year-old man arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office has been released on bail pending in further investigation. This follows search warrants at 2 addresses in the Wiltshire and Camden areas. We're not able to provide further information at this stage to prevent prejudicing the integrity of the investigation. So what is Peter Mandelson accused of? Well, he's accused of sharing confidential information with the paedophile financier Jeffrey Epstein during the time that he was business secretary. Now, this was during the period that he was serving under the leadership of Gordon Brown. And this, of course, follows the release of emails from the US Department of Justice from within the Epstein files earlier this month. Now, it's important to say that Mandelson denies any wrongdoing and he's previously apologised for his ongoing relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, saying that it went on for far too long. But for those who perhaps don't remember exactly how he got here, he, of course, started as this major political figure within the Labour Party as far back as the 1980s. He was then seen as this spin doctor, a reputation as a spin doctor, helping Sir Tony Blair to his election victory in 1997. In 2024, he was then appointed as our man in Washington, as the US ambassador by Sir Keir Starmer. He was then sacked in September after the government then said that they discovered more information about the depth of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. As we should say, this is a live police investigation. Mandelson has denied any wrongdoing, but it's certainly a big fall from grace.
Amelia, thank you very much. Well, we can bring Mari in now just to get a bit more on this. Mari, the thing that I'm trying to kind of get my head around is that it was about a year ago that Peter Mandelson was in Washington, D.C., having this big welcome party, including with the Prime Minister, for his appointment as US ambassador.
Yeah, I think this is what is so extraordinary about the story, is how quickly he has gone from being this revered, respected politician, you know, one of the architects of New Labour. He's going to do us a great job in Washington. We need him for Trump. You know, Starmer saying this is the great guy that we need to replace, you know, Karen Pierce, who many people said she should have just stayed in that job and she was doing a great job. And suddenly it's all crumbled very, very, very quickly. And I think the difficulty for Keir Starmer is he's chairing his first cabinet meeting just hours after Peter Mandelson was arrested and then released by police. And I think that is just so uncomfortable when you are the man who decided you thought this guy was a great guy for the job. And, of course, the questions around the Prime Minister's judgment haven't gone away. You know, we were talking about that a few weeks ago. Things died down. Then things happened with Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. But nonetheless, those questions remain. And that's what we're going to be seeing today with the Lib Dems, with this humble address. They are wanting to know more, yes, about Mandelson, but today is actually really about Andrew for now.
And it's quite... Sorry.
No, you go. Well, I was just going to ask separately about the release of the files that we're going to get relating to Mandelson's appointment as ambassador, because I think we got a suggestion that will be early March, so fairly soon, but presumably there's going to be a lot that doesn't come yet, both because of national security concerns that will have to go through that parliamentary committee, but also anything that could jeopardise the police investigation.
Exactly. So what the government has said is that they are going to release the documents in these kind of tranches, as it were. And so the first tranche of documents will be early March, so potentially next week. Now, they've said that they're not going to tell us when all the documents will finally come out, and that is in part because some elements of these documents or some of these documents might need to be withheld while the police investigation goes on, and therefore they have to cooperate with the police on that to make sure that they don't release anything that may be able to prejudice that police investigation. So in terms of the timeline, well, we don't know in terms of the length of the timeline, but what we do know is it sounds like next week could be the beginning of that kind of continuation, as it were, of the release of documents, which in some ways is actually quite unhelpful for the government. In a way, you would almost rather release them all in one go and have it done with. And the fact that they are going to have to do this in sections keeps the story at the top of the news agenda for longer. But, of course, it's a mammoth task, and therefore they're probably being quite pragmatic.
Mara, thank you very much indeed.